Tiny Meeker is a legend in the powerlifting world. Last month, Tiny broke the equipped bench press world record at 1,125 pounds. Tiny Meeker is now putting on his own powerlifting contest called the Baddest Bencher on the planet. It is an IPA-sanctioned meet. It will be taking place Saturday, May 14th, 2022. He is looking for endorsements, sponsorships. Any one person or any business that could help, please contact Tiny Meeker at tinymeekertraining.com or call him at 412-GET-TINY, 412-438-8469. Once again, that's tinymeekertraining.com or give him a call at 412-438-8469. It all helps. Give him a call. Thank you. Powerlifting champion Tiny Meeker is with us today. What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, kicking it live.
Yeah. Well, first I got to ask you, how'd you get the name Tiny?
Oh, man, I was hoping you weren't going to ask that question. Man, people have been asking that forever. I've gone by Tiny Meeker since 1990, and
Wow.
that's the name I'm going by. But pretty much I used to bounce a bodyguard way back in the days. You know, I'm 50 now, so did that for about 13 years, and kind of the first nightclub I worked at, people started calling me that as a joke, and I just kept getting tinier every year. And actually, I'd only go by Tiny, and then a few more years into my powerlifting, I actually started using my last name again. And
Okay,
there you go, Tiny Meeker.
That's fantastic. So you're 50, you said?
Yeah, I just turned 50 last May.
Oh, congratulations and happy birthday. But the reason why I asked that is, didn't you just break the bench press world record last month?
After a whole bunch of stuff since 2017, yeah, I finally took the all-time record back again.
Wow, and you're 50 years old. That's amazing. So for people who don't know, why don't you tell us how much you bench press?
1,125. And
Wow.
I was the first man to ever break 1,100, and I did that, I believe, in 2013.
That's absolutely amazing. And after you broke it, I actually looked it up on YouTube. And what was, I think, the most impressive part of it was that you had 7 guys spotting you.
Yeah, well, if you look at my 1102, I got 3 people spot me. I don't like a lot of spotters around me, to be really honest. As funny as it sounds. I like my 3 main people, and I don't know. I'm kind of crazy, I guess. I say I feel like I get claustrophobic when too many people around me. And the funny part is, where I'm kind of weird at is, I want everyone to see the weights, see the bars, so there ain't no excuses.
Right.
Lights are on and everything. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
But what you probably don't know, and a lot of people don't know, is I actually had after I did the 1102, I wanted to do 1,200, and I was ready to do 1,200, but I wanted to get paid. So I was constantly training and going crazy with it. In 2016, I barely missed my 12s again for one show. And then a few months after that, I had 3 car wrecks in 5 months.
Wow, really?
It took me out of the scene, yeah. And I went from a body weight 340. I couldn't bench. I couldn't do legs. So I started doing a lot of cardio. And my business partner for my gym is Nathan Payton, who's probably the best strength nutritionist in the world, 6-time world strongman champion. And Nathan got me on a diet. I went from 340 down to 277 in about 6-7 months.
Wow.
And just a lot of therapy. And then when I kind of started feeling like I was getting better, I started seeing more guys were starting to hit 1,000 pounds on their bench. So I put together the Baddest Bencher on the planet contest, and came in at 2. I weighed in at 302. By the time I lifted, I was probably 297 because I was putting the show on. I'm setting it up. I'm a hands-on guy. I get help, but I'm more hands-on than letting people do things. You know what I mean? So I'm stressed out of my mind doing all that. And actually, I just skipped a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, so I had the car wrecks. My mother had a stroke. My gym flooded. My house flooded. Her house flooded.
I'm sorry to hear about your mom.
I went to AFib. My mom died.
Oh, my God.
Then we put on the Baddest Bencher on the planet contest.
Wow, I'm sorry to hear that. But that's a testament to your character, the fact that you were able to overcome all that and still break records and still put on the contest and so on and so forth.
Yeah, well, don't get me wrong. I mean, there was honestly plenty of times where I was sitting there just thinking, man, I don't think I'm ever coming back, because either I just wasn't healing, or we go from one problem to another problem, because I had a torn labrum. My hip were really messed up. I was having knee issues, neck issues. I mean, it was just going and going and going in circles. You know, I looked good. I was healthy. But the funny part is when, well, it wasn't funny. When my mom had the strokes and the flooding, I was so stressed out of my mind. I went to AFib. And it was funny because people that don't know me were making comments online. Oh, you can't be doing that stuff forever. And I'm like, stuff? What do you mean stuff? I mean, I'm stressed out of my mind. You don't even know what you're talking about. I'm 280 pounds. I'm not 300 something. And so spent 4 days in the hospital, got zapped, got a $50,000 medical bill, didn't ask anyone for help. And here we are.
Wow, man. I'm really sorry. No medical insurance? You had to pay that off on your own?
No, I don't have no medical insurance. Not gonna lie. So that was a pretty tough one. But, you know, honestly, man, I paid $50 a month and they leave me alone. So
yeah, that's the good part. Is as long as you're paying them something, they can't bother you.
Yeah, because I mean, to be honest, that's probably cheaper than paying the health insurance itself. So
yeah, if you have to pay out, my brother is a contractor and he has to pay for him and his family, and he's got 2 daughters, and the amount of money he pays every year is insane, you know. And I actually, the whole reason I took a job at New York City as a sewer worker, and the whole reason I took that was because for health benefits and retirement, so on and so forth. And I'm like, when I hear stories like that, I mean, my heart goes out to you. But I'm like, oh God, thank God I took that fucking job.
So we put on the Baddest show, and then at the Baddest Bench, I re-injured myself again.
Holy shit!
And man, I mean, I was just going nuts. It's like, what the heck? How am I gonna get healthy? And then, honestly, I'd say a month before I did the show, the IPA Nationals. We're just in the gym, and I just started feeling different, as weird as that may sound. When I was injured, I had to move my grip in because of my shoulder issues. And I just had a weird feeling. I said, let me move my hands all the way out to where I normally would grab the bar before the wrecks, before the injuries and all that. And went all the way to my index finger. And, man, I was just smoking my warm-ups. And I was getting up. I was like, man, that feels pretty good. Well, let's try this. So we go get the shirt on, put the shirt on, and that was the first day where I did the 1135 off of one board.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, well, let's come back next week. And I started making some phone calls, trying to sit up because I'm starting to feel like something good's about to happen. And it's all about timing. And I said, I tell you what, if I come in the gym, I hit 1123, we'll bring the kilos out. If I hit 1123, I'll go ahead and fill 1200 in my hands, and you know, and then we'll go. Either I was going to go to Nationals for the IPA, or I was going to go across to Mindy's meet in Cali. And I figured, you know, the IPA Nationals is a much bigger show. It's at the Hall of Fame. So anyway, I came in, and the funny part is on the warm-ups with the shirt before I got to the opening lift, what it was going to be, none of them felt good. The raw warm-ups felt fantastic. But when I went to the heavy, which was going to be my opener, it felt fantastic. So I went 1123, smoked it. And again, I was going to go 1200, filled in my hands. And I said, nah, I'm going to shut it down. I'm ready. I said, we're going to open, because I know they do pounds there. I said, we're going to open up 1125. No, we're not changing nothing. And went there with the game plan. I get there. It was kind of funny because Jimmy had the record at the time, Jimmy Code. Jimmy was there. Jimmy didn't know I was coming. I didn't know Jimmy was coming. And, you know, and Jimmy's record's 1120, and we weigh in at the same time. And I go weigh in first. I was 320, so I was 340 the last time I lifted in 2016 there when I got Hall of Fame. And Jimmy weighed in right after me, and it was funny. Jimmy got on the scale. It's a huge scale, and I was standing on the corner of it, and a woman goes 397, and he's like, "What?" And I'm behind him, just covering my mouth because I'm laughing. And she's like, "Hold still." He goes, "I'm holding still." And then laugh no more. And Jimmy turns around, "Tiny!" And I was standing on the weight scale.
Oh, get out of here! That's hysterical. That's great that you guys rib each other like that.
Oh yeah, Jimmy's a great guy. So we go over and they ask for openers. I said, "You ask for an opener? He's standing right there." And I go, "I don't care, Jimmy. Straight up, I'm open 1125, and I'm not changing nothing. Straight up." And he said he was going to open at 1070. And I was like, "You're not going to open with 1070. He goes, "Yeah, I am." Because I really thought he was going to open up higher.
Yeah.
And he goes, "No, I'm up 1070. And he weighed in at 315, which was the biggest he's ever been. And anyway, so we start warming up. And again, it just didn't feel right in the warm-up room. But when I went to do my when I did my last one, I told my main guy that was with me, I said, we're still open at 11:25. Nothing's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And if you watch the video real close, when I got the lift off, I'm coming down. When I got the press, it first fires off real fast, but then it slowed down. And what happened was,
That's right. I noticed that.
Yeah, my right leg is shaking like crazy. It's about to leave the floor.
Oh,
so I got to stop to dig my foot more on the floor so it won't slip out. And when I know it was sitting still, I started going up a little again. I felt kind of moving again, and doing what I knew I had it. I locked out, but it was kind of drifting up. Slightly towards the rack. I'm sitting there going, "Oh, please stop!" And
yeah,
I finally hear the racket. I was like, "Thank you, God!" And so when they took it, I got my hand there, like, "Yes," And they're sitting there waiting forever, and then finally the lights come on. I'm like, "Yay!"
Dude, that was. I watched it, and I was like, that was the most amazing. I mean, listen, anybody who works out at all, bench press is like the go-to movement. How much do you bench? How much do you bench? How much do you bench? Did you ever run into like a normal guy that looks at your size and goes, "Wow, man, how much do you bench?" And then you actually tell them.
Actually, the funny part I get is I always ask people to guess how much I bench.
Oh, okay.
And usually I'll say, and when you guess it, think freaking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how many will still say 400 or 500 or even 3. And I'll be like, man, you're really disrespecting me right now, Yeah. And then you get some, they'll say 900. And I'm like, keep going up. And they'll go, look at me crazy and go 1,000. I said it's the all-time world record. And then, they might go 1,200. I said, well, that will be soon. But nah, it's 11:25 now.
That's fantastic.
We're the true daredevils of our sport. If you're deadlifting, you can just drop the bar. If you're squatting, you can dump it off your bag.
That's right.
But where are we going to dump it?
That's it. You're a dead man. You drop that shit on yourself. Oh, man.
Yep.
So now let's imagine that whoever's listening to this doesn't know the difference between raw and equipped. Can you just quickly summarize quickly explain what equipped is as opposed to raw?
Well, hopefully no one listening to this is from TikTok, because if they're from TikTok, they're going to tell me I'm wrong on everything. And tell me it's bad and the whole works. Well, the difference is raw and equipped. Raw is raw. I mean, the only thing you can wear is wrist wraps. If you want to wear a belt, you wear a belt. Belt really going to help your bench press. So you got wrist support. And whatever happens. With the shirts first initially came out for safety first. That's really what it was based on. I mean, the first bench shirts were black shirts. You may have got 30, 40 pounds. And to be quite honest, when I put that on, my bench went down because I had a 605 raw bench when I was 22. So when I first started competing again, powerlifting outside of high school, my first contest, I hit 451, missed 5. Then the next one hit 5. And then when we switched to denims, I was in the 6s again. And what's kind of funny is back in those days, we'd warm up raw to 600 in the warm-up room, and then we go put a shirt on and maybe we'll bench 700 pounds, And I mean, it's like we're all maxing out in the warm-up room because we didn't know better and people didn't know things. And then when we kind of got smarter, if you go watch me warm up, I really go 135, 225, 315, and I could jump to 900 pounds once I put my shirt on, maybe even 1,000. Mm-hmm. Just so the shirts went from a compression, basically a polyester, to a denim, to a more to a double polyester or double denims, then to the Rage X's, which was when you first got them, you're like, what the heck's this thing going to do? And then you put it on, and I'd say Rage X's, I was the first guy to get 800 and 900 in a single ply. And then I switched to double, and I did 942 at 308. And then I found the Phenom. And a lot of people know about the Phenom. The Phenom was a much, much stretchier shirt, but it had a reaction that was incredible. Mm-hmm. And when it first came out, Gene Rychek was the first guy to do 1,000. A lot of people was bashing on the shirt, said it should be illegal. And I'll get to where we're going on that one in a minute. But when Ryan put it on and he hit what he hit, 1,036, I think, in Russia first, everyone was like, man, this is the greatest shirt ever. And then boom, everyone's wearing them, So that's when I finally got my first 1,000. And back then I was kind of jumping around different federations, always switching shirts. I'd go single, double ply, multi-ply. And I could never really do what I thought considered my best because I was constantly changing shirts, constantly going different feds, different rules, start commands, all that kind of junk. So I finally one day just said, you know what, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to focus on just one shirt only. And at that time, I got laid off from my job. And one of my very close friends I grew up since middle school pulled me aside one day and goes, hey, Tiny, let me ask you something. He goes, what's the minimum amount of money you can make a month to survive? And I was like, well, why? He goes, well, I'm going to pay you that. And I want you to just go focus on getting the world record. Long story short, 6 months later, 6 months later, I got the all-time world record, 1076.
That's a good friend. I don't have any friends like that.
Yeah. and I ain't gonna lie, it was $2,400 a month. I said, I'll survive on that. And I got it done. And then it went from 1076 to 1080 to 1102. And from there, history, you know.
That's fair. What do you do for a living?
I'm part owners with it's a Metroflex Houston here in Kingwood.
Oh, okay.
And I'm a trainer out there and stuff. My business partner again is Nathan Payton.
Yeah.
And Nathan was the nutritionist for Brian Shaw. Every year he won the World Strongman.
Oh, okay.
He's doing 80 Hall right now for the boxing.
Oh, right.
Tom and his brothers, Stolman, who just won it when Martins was a nobody, won a show, won the Arnold, won the World Strongman. He was with Nathan. And when Brian left Nathan, he never made it to the podium ever. And he came back to Nathan, just got second, only getting beat by Tom. So Nathan knows his stuff.
Yeah, it sounds that way. I actually had Brian Dobson on, the owner of the original Metroflex. I had him on last month. Great human being.
Super nice guy.
Really tremendous guy. So I'll ask you one technical question. Does the shirt help, or is it just a different animal?
Okay, so this is where people don't understand shirts and stuff. The shirt definitely does help, but you have to learn the shirt. Because if you don't learn the shirt, you'll absolutely hate the shirt. So where I was kind of saying about the Phenom, and then we switched to the band shirt. So I did the 1102 in a 3-ply Phenom. And then when my record finally got broke, that was by Will Brody. He was wearing a band shirt. And next thing you know, you're seeing a bunch of guys hit 1,000 pounds in the band shirt. But these guys weren't hitting 1,000 in the other shirts. So my first thing was I didn't care, but I really felt it should be in a different category. And even after doing my 1125, I still believe it's just being in a different category, which it is. It's called the unlimited division, which I don't understand why you just don't call it a band division anyway, because it's a band shirt. So if guys go put a slingshot on, with the slingshot, it really kind of teaches you better your technique and form. But if you go put on like one of these Bench Daddy bands, it's a little different because now you kind of got to flare your elbows out, which is really we've always taught is not a good thing to do.
That's right, yeah.
Especially if you got someone like me that's blown both his labrums, both his rotators. I've never had surgery. I've always healed up, but I don't. Wow. I'm that's scary because when we were getting ready for my show, I was sponsored by a certain company forever. Mm-hmm. I actually dropped that sponsorship 1 month before the Baddest Bencher on the planet because I honestly didn't feel like I was getting supported anymore. And I've been with that company since 1996. Wow. I'm a very loyal person. It was like getting divorced from an extremely happy marriage that just went to shit all of a sudden. Sorry to hear that. And now all of a sudden I got to learn this new shirt. And I ain't gonna lie, when I first got it, I freaking hated it. Mm-hmm. It was like so inconsistent to me. You got to learn the shirts. If you don't learn them, you'll absolutely hate them. But once you learn it and you understand it, yes, the shirt can dramatically change your lifting. Mm-hmm. Okay. If you don't understand them, you won't be able to do nothing in them because either one, you won't be able to touch, or if you saw a lot of guys when they were coming up pretty quick on these shirts, they're coming down with a weight and all of a sudden it's falling on them. And the reason why is these shirts, if you come out and you break form and you're going too quick and it goes towards your belly, you don't let go, it's going to break your arms. Oh. So, the Phenoms, Ray Jacksons, all that, you can pretty much kind of hold it as it's going down. I hear, okay. You're going. Right. So I got with Rob Farrell. That's who I'm with now, and I'm with Anderson Powerlifting. And love Ken Anderson. I've known Ken forever. Mm-hmm. Ken's up there, and I'm, like I said, I'm 50, and I've probably known Ken over 20 something years. So, great person, great human being, and used to be a great lifter too. So Rob, I started working with Rob, and coming in my show, what I really wanted in the Baddest Bencher on the Planet contest, I just wanted everyone to bench 1,000 pounds and then go for the kill, because I was paying you to attempt the weight, but I wanted everyone to hit a lift because it would be great for TV and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And that went for myself too, and unfortunately, I bombed. But my ultimate goal was I wanted to open up with 1,000, and I wanted to jump from 1,000 to 1,100 to 1,200 to 30. I wanted to go crazy the show. It was my backyard. I just wanted to make my lift and just have fun from there and put on a show. You know what I mean? I really didn't care who won. Would have been nice to win, sure. Yeah. But I just wanted to put on a show where everyone makes the lift, everyone hits over 1,000 pounds, and everyone walks out of the room and goes, "That was the greatest thing I ever saw in my life."
Right. Who else was there besides you?
So, first the invites went out. The only person, of course, that there were all the 1,000-pound benchers. Gene, of course, passed away. But I invited Scott. I invited Ryan. I invited Hoff. I invited Blaine Summer, the first 1,000-pound bencher in a single pie shirt, in a USAPL lifter, IPF champion. I did Will Brody, of course, who was the current world champion. And to be honest, if Will wasn't in the meet, it wouldn't have been the baddest bencher on the planet because he was the champion. He was the record holder, Right. And then he had Jimmy Cole, and then we had Rich Putnam, and then if I'm correct, we had Bill Gillespie, who was the oldest 1,000-pound bencher, and then we had Tony Carlino. Tony coming into the meet hadn't hit 1,000 yet, but I had Dave didn't want to lift from the meet. He had issues with IPA, so he was out. Ryan got hurt. Ryan's mother had a stroke. Oof. So I understand that completely. So he was out. Let's see. Hoff, like I said, didn't want to do that. Blaine Sumner actually broke his back squatting at the Arnold a year or so before that. So he was out. So I was trying to find some more people that I could put in who I think would do what they do. I'm watching Tony Carlino on YouTube or not YouTube, but on Instagram and Facebook. And I'm like, hey, man, this guy's about to hit some big. Well, I actually gave him the invite before he even got in the show, and lo and behold, he hits a big 1,000-something bench in a contest either a week or two before the show, and then lo and behold, he hit a 1085 in my meet. So, Will Brody won. He did 1090. Tony did 1085. Jimmy did the biggest single pie bench in history, 1080. Wow. And then Rich Putnam did a 1025, which was the highest master bench then at the time. And then I hate saying this, but Gillespie practically had a seizure on the platform.
Oh, wow, really?
Scott dumped, I want to say it was either 11:15 or 11:20 on him. And, I missed my 1047. And, I opened up with 1,003. That's what I did. 1,003, 1047 hit the rack. And then 11:15, I just missed touching, but I blew it up. But already kind of messed up my knee, bouncing around, being all hyper going into my second lift. And that's what changed my game.
Wow. That is some tremendous lifts. I actually had the pleasure of having Scott, and then I actually had his sister, Shauna, on. Great interviews, really, really great interviews.
I bet.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, what's great about them is they no holds barred. I mean, they will say exactly what they feel, especially Shauna. And it was a fantastic interview. So I have to ask you this question, and I don't know if something like this bothers you or not, but right before this, I was in the gym, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, I got to get out of here, man. I gotta interview for my podcast. I got the world bench press world record holder, and he goes, Julius Maddox, and I went, no, actually, I already had him. So I said, no, it's Tiny Meeker, and he's like, does that bother you that you're not as known as somebody like Julius Maddox?
No, because I think a lot of that also has to do with I kind of disappeared for quite a while and I wasn't doing stuff. The Raw people got themselves on ESPN and everything else. So there's a lot more stuff there. I mean, hey, man, I really do hope that Julius hits 800. I'm a huge fan of his lifting.
It's a matter of time. It's inevitable. Yeah.
I mean, it should have happened on the day of the damn misload.
That's right. Yes.
Happened. And I hope to God that he doesn't have some injury sometime down the road, because I don't care how big and massive he is. He's playing with some massive, crazy weight without no support. And, and I know one little injury and the whole world changes fast, especially when you're doing raw. I mean, that's why everyone always asks me if I'm going to do raw. I'm 50 years old. I've had my injuries from car wrecks. To me, raw is a young man's sport.
Yeah.
And
Scott said the same thing, actually.
Yeah. And this might hurt some people's feelings. I mean, well, James Henderson was the first raw 700-pound raw bencher. And James was drug-free. James was a 420, probably 6'4", 6'5" man. He's an enormous man. Mm-hmm. Julius is an enormous man, So I think he recently got a 275-pound guy that's now doing over 700 too. Mm-hmm. But regardless, I've heard rumors that Julius might get six figures if he hits the 800. I'm like, well, why can't I get six figures hitting 1200?
Yeah. Yeah. Does it bother you that it doesn't? Well, first of all, do you think that in general there's not as much respect for equipped lifters? And if you think that, does it bother you?
I don't think it's about respect. I think just when you took the magazines away, man, I think it really hurt the sport. Mm-hmm. Now it's all social media. I mean, like I was saying earlier, I get on here and you go look at me on TikTok and read the comments on there. There's the dumbest things I've ever read in my life. I was repping 800 pounds off of 2 boards, training. And some fool goes, I guess you only got one. And I'm thinking, one?
Yeah,
it's like training video, Mm-hmm. People don't get it, don't understand. They don't understand what the boards are for.
Right.
I mean, the boards are to basically focus on the triceps, take the shirt out of the lift, where your body, the muscles you want to really focus on are getting the lifting. You still got support and protection, but one, you're not destroying your shirt and you're not destroying your body as hard. Okay. So, but as for, I think Julius got with some people that really did big social media stuff at first.
Absolutely.
He used to do all the stuff with Leroy back in the days and CT. And Leroy actually said to me one day, because he was doing all these things, and I'm pretty sure Leroy's had a bunch of injuries, and that's why we don't see him.
Hey, you mean Leroy Walker?
Yeah.
I had him on too.
Yeah, Leroy told me, he goes, Tiny, he goes, I'll probably get more views for me repping 225 than you will benching over 1,100 pounds. And I said, yeah, you're probably absolutely correct, and it's kind of sad.
Yeah, it is. To
me, that's the part that's disappointing. But as for him getting more credit than me, nah, man, I'm cool with that. But I just think we should all be on. We should all be there getting ESPN coverage of that, and that's what I'm actually trying to do with the Baddest Bencher. Is I'm trying to get all this on ESPN right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had the pleasure of having Leroy on a week before he broke the strict curl record. Actually, a week before he broke the American strict curl record, and then he broke the world strict curl world record, which is. To me, the bench pressing is obviously it's all impressive, but the strict curl, I mean, it's just your biceps, man. I mean, you can't nudge, you can't move anything. It's unbelievable that he curls 240 something or other. I mean, that's impressive, dude.
You almost wonder why he don't go into arm wrestling.
Yeah, well, he does. Apparently, he's trying, and that's actually what opened the world up to me to arm wrestling as far as interviewing people, because he was practicing with Paul Lynn, who is a middleweight arm wrestling champion. And He put it on his Instagram, and I'm watching it. And I'm going, who is this guy that can't move Leroy Walker? Because my whole life I've always been a bodybuilding, powerlifting fan. And I'm like, who is this guy that can't move Leroy Walker? He's half his size, And then I look it up. It's Paul Lynn. And I messaged him right away, and he came on. I was able to get an interview with him, and that's how it opened up arm wrestling. But
hey, but I will tell you this: probably the only thing that was bother me ever on stuff, like there was local expos here in Houston some years ago, and here I am, the all-time record holder at the time, still, and the guys.
I know exactly where you're going with this. Yeah,
and the guys we were talking about weren't world record holders yet, but they were all the guys being brought in. They were being flown in. Do autographs, work a booth, and all that stuff. And I was kind of like, now that to me was kind of disrespectful, because I was thinking, I live here. everyone knows me here. I did a grand opening for a Nutrition Depot here many years ago with Ronnie Coleman, and they said 90% of the calls that came in asked, did Tiny bench yet? Not was Ronnie Coleman still there signing autographs?
Right.
No disrespect to Ronnie, because Ronnie is the greatest bodybuilder ever.
Period.
But this is my hometown, and this is what was going on. So when this stuff was going on, and this is like what I was getting at is, the magazines are gone. There's so many people that don't know the sport of powerlifting anymore because the magazines are there. They don't know. There's people that don't know who Gary Frank is. There's people that don't know who Gene was. There's people that don't know who Ryan Kennelly is anymore.
That's right.
And there's a lot of people don't know who Tiny Meeker is.
Dude, it's the God's honest truth. Like I was talking to guys in the gym today. It is my pet peeve that the idea of fame is derived from fame, if that makes sense.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with your accomplishments. That bothers me so much because I'm 45 and I'm the older generation X. And when I was a kid, if you were famous for accomplishing something. And so here's somebody like yourself who is an accomplished powerlifter, one of the greatest in the world as of right now, the greatest bencher in the world. And you don't get notoriety from the young generation. The young generation is going for the guy who has the most views and so on and so forth. And that blows me away because they really didn't accomplish anything.
Well, I'll take nothing away from Julius at all because.
Well, no, Julius is an accomplished powerlifter, period.
Yeah, but I'll get it this way. Like when Spoto was the world record holder, Eric tried a shirt once, and he said the most he ever felt in a shirt was 855, and he thought it was going to crush him.
Mm-hmm.
He got it. Now, could Julius possibly put a shirt on one day and do something crazy? Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Again, if you don't know the shirt and you don't want to learn it, you're going to hate the darn shirt.
Yeah.
And the pressure is enormous, but he's such a huge man, and he's messed with the crazy stuff. You never know. Julius might do something fantastic,
Absolutely.
That man's mass and size is just unfreaking believable.
Right.
Until people see him in person, they don't know. So that's where things are kind of different. Look at Castleberry. Look how much credit he got.
Well, that was my next question. That was my next question. My next question was your opinion on the social media lifters, the Castleberries, and I hate to say this, but Larry Walker. He's kind of gone away from powerlifting, and I've had
Larry Wheels?
I'm sorry, I apologize, Larry Wheels. I get confused with them. Larry Wheels. I've had different opinions with different powerlifters. Some people say he's great for sport. Some people say he doesn't know what he's doing. So so I wanted your opinion on the social media lifters.
Well, you can't hate people making money.
Yeah, right.
It drives you nuts that. Larry is a freak no matter what.
Yeah.
Sometimes I really wonder about all his so-called injuries, and the next thing you know, he's back in a heartbeat, lifting some insane weight or doing an arm wrestling or something else. He's had more tears than anyone else I know at his age that I've ever met in my life, and still is super duper strong. But it's funny. We're talking strength. We're talking fake weights. At the same time, you got to talk about the guys with fake muscles. They're getting publicity for being fake. Mm-hmm. And that is the part that's kind of sad, because if you go watch basketball, you're not going to be seeing the guy getting all the height dunking off the floor with a trampoline. You're going to see Michael Jordan, or you're going to see the guys. You never seen the trampoline guy having 1 million freaking views.
That's right.
What they're doing.
LeBron does, right?
Exactly. I don't know. I've never looked it up, but you know what I mean?
No, I understand.
But Larry is real.
Yes.
Larry's not a fake guy, so I really don't like putting him in that category. Walker's is real too.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, his numbers. Hey, Kevin Washington is a great guy. I know Kevin. He's done some enormous lifts. But realistically, Kevin's never benched 700 pounds. Dude, I wanted to see him and Walker battle so bad in the old days.
Yes, me too.
See that? I love all that hype with CT. I love CT.
Yeah, I kind of share the same opinion. Hey, I can't hate you for making the money, but there's something to be said about people that actually accomplish something as opposed to somebody who is just making money because of views, because of social media. There's a big difference. And I think the older generation really still cherishes the I accomplished something, so I'm famous, as opposed to the new generation that is just like, oh, do you follow so-and-so? And he has 1 million subscribers, but never did anything outside of that. You know, I don't, I went to the Olympia in 2015. I went this year, but it was in Vegas, and I was excited. This is before my podcast, and I was just a bodybuilding fan and a powerlifting fan and so on and so forth. And I was excited, and I was getting autographs and all this. And, you know, I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to speak ill of anybody. But there was a social media personality, and it was an hour. It was 1 hour to meet him. 1 hour to meet him. He was a bodybuilder, never turned pro. It was 1 hour to meet him. Jay Cutler, 20 minutes.
And Jay's one of the nicest guys you ever meet.
Yeah, and Jay Cutler, 20 minutes. And Jose Raymond, who is one of the greatest 212 bodybuilders that ever lived. No time, just standing there hanging out. And I'm like, how is this possible? How is this these champions? And a guy who never got his pro card. And it was just because he's social media savvy. That's it. That's all it was. That's all it was. But, you know, to me, it's like, yeah, he talks into a microphone and he talks a big game, but his accomplishments don't back it up. So I look at it like horse shit. I respect somebody like who does it and doesn't talk instead of somebody who just talks a big game and doesn't back it up. But maybe we're just old generation. I don't know.
Well, social media, to me, in a lot of ways, I think social media has hurt our sport. Don't get me wrong. But where I think we should get more notoriety from is from sponsors. Why didn't the sponsors come after the real people?
Right.
And take care of them? That's the only thing that disappoints me majority of the times is the sponsor stuff. Mm-hmm. But I mean, still, the only thing that bothers me in social media is just the stupid comments that people don't understand what the heck they're doing.
Yes.
I mean, I don't mind being asked questions, and I would respond why I do this or what's that. I mean, a million times a day I'll get, what do you do raw? It's like, I guess you don't know nothing about me.
Yeah.
I don't max raw. I don't care for max raw. I do what I do, you know.
Have you ever had somebody approach you in person and actually say something negative, say something like equip doesn't mean anything, it's cheating, it's this, it's that?
Nope,
no, of course not. Yeah, of course not. It's always
we might see something different the next show now.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Another question is,
hey, wait, I got one for you. Years ago, I was living in the cage, and before we went in, I was talking to Bill Kazmaier, and there was an episode years ago where Bill kind of got into it, I think, with Mike Miller. And Mike was an enormous guy who actually went to UFC and stuff, and if I heard the story correct, I wasn't there. I think Mike actually even threw a bench shirt at him, and because he was bashing on the Equip guys, and he says, here, threw it at him and said, now you can go lift some weight then.
Really?
So anyway, so I was talking to Bill, and this is the first time we ever really met, and I was talking about how much I bench and stuff, and he goes, oh, you wear one of those shirts. And I said, yeah. I said, but I've touched 600 pounds in the same shirt. I bench over 1,000 pounds. And he goes, really? I said, yeah. And he goes, when you lifting? And I said, about 1 o'clock in the cage. He goes, okay. Well, I go do what I did in the cage. I rep 600, I rep 700, I rep 800. I did 900, and later I came back, I hit 1,000 in the cage. It was the first time I ever hit 1,000 full range I did in the cage. Mm-hmm. So I'm walking towards the bathroom at the Arnold, and all of a sudden I hear, Tiny Meeker. And I look over, and it's Bill Kazmaier at his booth. He had a booth there. He goes, Tiny, come here. And I think he had these little protein shot things or something. And he goes, ladies and gentlemen, can I introduce you to the greatest bencher of all time? And he goes, Tiny, can I get a picture with you? And I was like, fuck yeah. You know? And then from that point on, me and Bill's been super cool. And he wasn't a dick when he said what he said to me. He didn't get it, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of people like that, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the whole point. If you don't understand, just ask. But the thing is, where he got more respect for me was he thought you got to have total freaking amount of weight on there to freaking touch.
Right.
If you saw my videos coming to the show before I did 1135, I was doing 675, 765, 800 full range before I went and did what I did. Mm-hmm. Because what I did is I learned what's the littlest amount of weight it takes to touch in that shirt. And the only thing I'm going to do is go bigger and do it faster. That's my goal. And that's why Everyday Speed Day.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that's why I think, really had more respect for it, because now he kind of got it.
Yeah, well, you showed it to him right in front of us, and I kind of get that. There are things that people don't get, that don't understand, and they try it or they see it and they go, okay, I get it now. I think that's just human nature,
I mean, how many rugby guys go, why do you wear a helmet in football, man?
Right? yeah, right, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Hey, wait, you go scuba and you wear a mask and go, why do you need fins for? Just go down there and swim. I mean.
Right.
I mean, drag racing. Why you get those fat tires on the back? That's stupid. You put some tires on there.
But I work with guys like this that say shit like this all the time. I'm a blue collar guy. I got we were looking at bodybuilding pictures, and my friend has no idea what bodybuilding is, and he knows what it is, but he doesn't never follows it. And he goes, "Why does he have to have all that fucking tan and shit all over him? He doesn't even look white anymore." And you get that stuff all the time. I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I want your opinion. I feel like records are being broken faster than ever today.
Besides the equipment, my biggest reason I think that's happening, you have more hardcore gyms now. This is going to sound funny. Sometimes I wish I never let people see me bench with my custom bar. Because once that bar got out, you start seeing a bunch more 1,000-pound benches. You got to feel big weight to lift big weight. Years ago, when I used to train at Bally's Total Fitness, the most I could put on the bar was 855. Where I got a lot of shit on was for 2 years straight, I almost bombed every single show because every month I would go do a meet just to fill 900 pounds in my hands. Mm-hmm. I knew what I was doing. I didn't like bombing, but to me, it was just like training for me. I was trying to get something.
Right.
And then one day I ran into a guy named Randy Risher who walked up to me at an APA meet and was like, "Hey, you Tiny Meeker?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You still looking for sponsors?" I go, "Sponsors? I'm always looking for sponsors."
Yeah.
And I go, "What you got?" He goes, "Well, what are you looking for? Are you looking for money, this, that, equipment?" I go, "Equipment? What do you mean equipment?" He goes, "Well, I build gyms." I said, "Oh, you build gyms, huh?" I go, "Can you give me a 1,000-pound weight set?" He goes, "Yeah, I can do that." And I'm not kidding you. Bam, 942 at Mendelson's meet. And it was just that fast. So where I'm going is you got better benches, you got better bars, look how many gyms got kilo sets now.
That's right.
If you could feel big weight, you're going to lift big weight. Mm-hmm. If you're not going to feel it, you're not going to do it. Mm-hmm. That's why records are getting smashed. Now, is the equipment better? That's hard to say because honestly, and I got to be careful what I say or I can't say that. I think the equipment was really good back in the days. I think you got stuff now where a lifter that's not as technical and disciplined could do better. Mm-hmm. Rob Farrell actually made me a shirt that I can actually lift more like a Phenom shirt, keeping my elbows in, more tucked, where I felt more natural the way I lift and the way, more disciplined lifter. Once I got that, things took off for me again too. So I'm still learning this shirt. I'm still learning different things to do to go crazier what I'm doing. But that's why I think you're seeing records get destroyed right now. It's the gyms, man. It's just so many more hardcore gyms.
And I feel like records are getting broken in bench and squats, especially. Now it looks like we hit a bit of a glass ceiling with deadlifts.
Except now you're starting to let guys wear straps and all that,
Yeah. So after it seems like after the Mountain did whatever it was, 11 and change, it seems like we hit a glass ceiling. But with bench pressing and squatting, we see people breaking their own world record over and over again. I think Katrina broke her own world record, and Leah broke her own world record. And it's just, or people are coming in. Rita West had like the squat for like 10 years, and then somebody this summer came and broke it, and it just seems to be boom, 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 over and over and over again. And in my head, because of this show and because of being interviewed, I'm like very plugged in. And in my head, I'm going, oh, how strong are these guys going to get? How strong are these girls going to get? These numbers are getting crazy. And of course, I'm a fan of it, but at the same time, I'm like, it used to be you had a world record. Look how long CT Fletcher's American strict curl world record was, like 30 years. It was 20-something years before Leroy Walker broke it.
It just, but again, that's a lift that really wasn't.
It was popular, and it became popular again.
And I probably would have stood forever, but Leroy was friends with CT. And who's to say CT didn't go, hey, Leroy, why don't you try this? Or maybe Leroy saw something and went on it. But as for what we do, it's what everyone sees, you know?
Yeah. But, I mean, I think it's great. I think it's great for the sport. And as a fan, I love it. It's like, you know, it's like when we used to watch baseball and Sammy Sosa was smashing home runs and Barry Bonds smashing home runs. Yep. That's what you love to see. And then once they took the drugs out of the sport, it's like, nobody watches baseball anymore. It just sucks. And
actually, I think you are starting to see a bunch more home runs again because, again, you're looking at technique, better training, better nutrition, all these things.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, whoever thought nutrition would be such a big deal when you're strength training now? Dude, Nathan tells me what the freak I eat on my lifting weeks and days. Mm-hmm. And there's no crashing. There's no more cramping on the platform for me because that used to be a big problem. I'd cramp all the time, leg be flying in the air because of cramps. I wasn't cramping this time. It's more flexible issues from the hips. Mm-hmm. But now I'm getting a lot of therapy on that stuff too. But there was no crash. I could have gone all day, you know, lifting wise.
Now, as far as nutrition and food, I mean, how much is it that you eat to keep on all that size?
Not as much as people think, but I try to eat 4 to 5 times a day.
Yeah, that's not much at all, you know.
But my diet, when I'm really strict, it's more just meats and greens. Mm-hmm. It has to be a meat, and it has to be green. I don't know if you can hear my dog. That's the fake ear in the background.
Yeah, I got to it. Don't worry about it.
But you know, no pork though, but it has to be meat, green, no dairy, no carbs, no sugar. When I started to get back into lifting to put the size on, I could have a simple carb the night before I lift and the day I lift. But pretty much that's it. But I try to eat as much as often as I can. You know, it's spinach omelets in the morning. Mm-hmm. And but man, as soon as I started putting 1,000 pounds on my hands, my weight went from 280 to over 300, like in a snap.
Wow.
And then as soon as I started messing with 12 and 13, then I was fighting to stay under 320. Wow. But I really, really, really want to get under 300 and bench 12 under 3. And then after that, I really just want to try to get as light as I possibly can. Mm-hmm. Keep on hitting 1,000. And, you know, if my record gets broken, I really don't care. I just want to be the first to get 1,200. And I basically told Ken Anderson and him, I said, hey, I want to do this about 2 or 3 more years. And after that, I really just want to drop the weight down, continue to hit 1,000. I'll always lift heavy. I don't care. I love feeling poundage in my hands. Mm-hmm. But I don't care about going any heavier than 12 for contests. I just, you know, I had the 1250 misload that one day at the Arnold Classic, and that changed a lot of things because, you know, I said I only like 3 guys when I do liftoffs. But if that weight would have came out of my hands, there wasn't no face guard on that. There wasn't no bodyguard on that bench.
Yeah.
Normally, I don't even like benches that have that stuff. But if I didn't have that on my bench at my show, man, Middleton would have got cut in half.
Yeah, so it's dangerous. People don't realize it's very dangerous. And, you know, even with spotters there, if it's a slip, I mean, it happens in a split second, you know. You are 50. How tall are you, sir?
I'm 5'10".
You're 5'10", and how much do you weigh now? 320. This is a stupid question, but I just feel like I should ask it. At 50 years old and being 320 pounds, and are you concerned about your health as of yet?
Well, the only concern I have my health was when I went to AFib. So I gotta watch certain things that I do that I used to do, mm-hmm. Like. I got to make sure I always go to bed with my sleep app machine, because that was another thing that kind of put me into my AFib. Was I was stressed real bad. My parents' house flooded, the gym flooded, and then that night, a friend of mine whose kid played for a major baseball league team was having a bachelor party. He wanted me to go to this party. I was like, dude, I've been cleaning my gym all day. Long story short, talked me into going. I went, partied. You know, drink. Yeah. Well, when I went to go to sleep, I'm at his house. I forgot my CPAP machine.
Oh.
And I lay down and go to sleep, which you think you're sleeping, but you probably really aren't.
Right.
And the next thing you know, my phone's went off because my mom's being taken to the hospital again. She's having another issue. So I'm rushing to get to the hospital. And, you know, I'm not kidding. I think we got in at 6 in the morning. The call came at 8:30. So I barely had any sleep, if I had any.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're rushing the hospital, this might make people mad at me, but part of me is thinking, hey, dude, you might still be drunk. You need to slow the freak down.
Mm-hmm.
No, you need to hurry up and get there. And you're kind of going panic mode. Anyway, got there. Mom was okay. I go home. I go take a nap. And then I get up to go to the gym to train. And I'm working out. And after every set, I'm like, oh, my God, I'm huffing. I feel strong, but I'm huffing like crazy. I'm sweating like crazy. And I'm thinking I'm just sweating because of beer, you know.
Yeah, right.
I'm thinking nothing else. So Sunday comes. I tell Nathan that, man, I feel horrible. I'm sweating. And he's like, well, you probably need to go get checked out. I said, checked out? I ain't going to no doctor. Screw a doctor.
Yeah.
Old man mentality. Monday comes. I'm still feeling bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to go get checked. I go down to some clinic. They put an EKG on me. 5 minutes later, they're walking in, asked me how I got there. Told them I drove. And they're like, well, if you promise to drive straight to the ER, we'll let you go to the ER, but I'm supposed to put you in the ambulance right now. They think you have blood clots in your lungs.
Mamma mia.
It's like, what? Really? So anyway, went there and like I said, got in. And while I was there, I was getting phone calls from family members. And, you know, during that time, we're arguing over mom's health care and all that stuff. And as I'm looking at the phone, on the phone, looking at my pulse and it's going up. And I go, you know, I probably shouldn't be talking to you. Click, you know, and anyway, so they zap me and I go home. But basically, I do cardio every single day. I do it every morning, every night. I ride a bike. I love doing my cardio. I feel good. I feel very energetic. But I don't go. Everyone knows I love tequila, but I gotta watch my drinking more.
Of course.
And it's really not the drinking part. And if I go drink it might be if it was often it'd be once a week. Now it might be once a month. Or for the show I didn't do any drinking for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really not even the drinking. It's me drinking and go eating.
Yes.
And go sleep. You know. And then there was one time I actually kind of got lucky because I went out, I drank. The next day I ate too many carbs, bad carbs, and I started feeling funny. And I got a portable EKG test, and it said I was having irregularities. And so I made sure I slept real good, ate extremely clean the next day. Boom, I was out of it. And that was my warning sign there. So from that point on, man, no more of the stupid stuff. Stick to what you're supposed to do. Make sure you always have the CPAP machine. And like I said, I want to do what I want to do in this lift. And then I really want to be under 300 and just try to stay as healthy as be and everything. Blood pressure is doing good. I finally went to a real cardiologist, got checked out.
I'm doing that tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm on the right meds. I give blood every once in a while.
I do the same thing, yeah.
But, you know, I actually liked being 270, 280. I like the way I looked. I like to wear normal clothes.
Yeah.
You know, I went from a 46 to a 38 waist. I'm still a 40, maybe a 42, but I'm wearing 2X shorts. I gave away or threw away all my stuff that was above that waist size. Most of my 4X shirts I got rid of. I still have doubles and threes. But, man, when I got to go back to Macy's and buy nice clothes to go to a wedding, I was like, hey, I'm enjoying this again.
Yeah, but I think what a lot of people don't understand who aren't competitive or aren't an athlete or competitive athlete or whatnot is, you know, that's your life. That's what it is. You
only realize you're that big sometimes until you lose the weight. And then you go look at pictures and video. I mean, I got some videos. I'm like, what the freak? I mean, when I weighed in at when I got in the Hall of Fame and I lifted at that show at York, I weighed in at 340. When she told me my weight, I was like, whoa, what did you say? She goes, 340. I'm going, is your scale right? And she goes,
wow.
Is it weighing light? I go, I mean, heavy? I mean, no, she goes, you weighing light? I said, oh, please don't say that. And she goes, you want to check it again? I go, not if you're going to say the same weight. You know, I was joking, but I wasn't joking. But it shocked me, man. Because I still did cardio back then, but I wasn't strict on my diets, not close. I would just eat whatever. But, man, I tell you, once I got it down and saw the mirror, I mean, face looks leaner, everything. I was like, man, I ain't going back to that crap.
Yeah, you know, for some reason, I don't know why, and thank God, you don't hear of powerlifters just dying like that. You don't hear of arm wrestlers just dying like that. But with bodybuilders, if it's like once a month, somebody's kicking off. And I don't know why.
I think it's diuretics.
That's the only difference, right?
I think it's diuretics. I agree with. I think Lee Priest made a comment the other day. There's too many, and it's funny that we brought social media and all that. There's too many online coaches.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
I 100% agree with them. But dude, you guys sit there, and if you go way back to some of the bodybuilders that died way back in the days, it was diuretics.
Yeah.
Andre, his internal organs, he bled to death. I mean,
that's right.
We had our magazines, so we saw all these things. We heard all these things. You don't have the magazines no more, so we don't get to read about stuff anymore. You have to go by social media, and you can't even believe half the shit you read.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's the diuretics. I think Lee also said, he goes, you got guys now that are walking around 8 weeks before their show, contest ready. You should be contest ready 8 weeks out.
That's right. I had interviewed Jose Raymond, who was again a 212 tremendous 212 champion bodybuilder, and we spoke about it. And he said same thing about the online coaches and everybody's a coach. And I asked him what was the worst piece of advice you ever heard somebody giving somebody, and he said starting to take diuretics a month out from a show, but not only a month out, increasing the milligrams of diuretics every day a month out. And I'm like, wow, that's because I've competed in bodybuilding before. The most I ever took was a half a Diazod the day before, and I'm like, wow, that's just insane, dude. That's signing a death certificate. So yeah, that's definitely truth to that.
And I've never been a bodybuilder, but I've had some friends that did it, and I'm standing around them because they didn't mix the bodybuilding and powerlifting together. Mm-hmm. Here's my friend shredded to hell, and he's telling me how shitty he feels. And basically, you're in your worst health conditions probably at that shredded.
That's right.
And stuff. So
yeah.
Dangerous.
It is.
And if you take strongman, like when you see the Arnold Classic, that's when you see the biggest those strongmen are, because it's not the cardio involved in it. But when they go do the World Strongman, most of those guys are 40, 50 pounds lighter. They don't walk around that enormous all the time.
See, and I didn't even think of that. Yeah, strongman. You don't hear a strongman dropping dead either. It's just the bodybuilders. And yeah, it's the only difference is the extreme diet and the extreme drugs. And yeah, absolutely. Probably has something to do with it. Sir, I'm going to thank you very much for coming on. I really, really appreciate you coming on and doing this. It's an absolute honor getting people to come on that you admire. And I have this thing that I say where it's like when you have your own podcast, you get to reach out to people that you admire and to interview. It's not like, you work for CBS and you have to interview some shithead politician that you really don't care about. So every person that I reach out to, there's a part of me that just admires them and I want to get them on. And I really appreciate it when somebody like yourself comes on, man. Thank you very much. And thank you for everything you do for the sport. Thank you for coming on. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, brother.
You too. And just don't forget, May 13th and 14th is the IPA World Championships powerlifting and the IPA Push-Pull World Championships and Baddest Bencher on the Platform 2. Or Baddest Bencher on the Planet Contest 2. And I'm working my tail off. I'm hopefully going to add the women in this. So if everything goes well, I was hoping to have answers sooner. We unfortunately had a major sponsor pass away a couple months ago. Okay. But I'm still working hard to get this on ESPN. Every woman will bench over 500 pounds, and every man will bench over 1,000. And it's going to be invitation only. I'll take 9 of each, and every lifter will get paid to lift, not just win. So,
that's fit. Do you have any kind of website or Instagram for Baddest Bencher or anything like that I could put on the description area?
You can go to tinymeekertraining.com or ibenchertotal.com. Those both go to my website that will give you information on the meet and contacting me. It's ibenchertotal.com and tinymeekertraining.com.
Tinymeekertraining.com and
ibenchertotal.
ibenchertotal. Okay.
You didn't get that, did you?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I was like, did he say I bench shirt? Yeah.
ibenchertotal.com.
Yeah, ibenchertotal.com. Okay. I'm going to put that in so people it's just a click away.
Yeah, and if people want to get into the IPA Worlds for the full meet or the push-pull, they go there and they can enter the meet there, or they can even go to ipapower.com, which is the IPA website, and enter it as well.
Power.com. Okay, I'm going to have all 3 of those in the description area, so it's just a click away for people to find out all the information.
Awesome. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, sir.
Have a Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
You too.